Be going over this ebook tonight. This is something that I had put together on Fiverr that I'm going to share with all you guys. So we're going to review it. It's a really big ebook with a lot of information that you can either offer for free as a lead magnet. You can, use it how you will, right? If you want to charge, you can certainly charge. This was, I paid the people on Fiverr probably close to like $400 to create this whole bundle just based on a bunch of information that I had. So, but it's in a PDF, it's not in, Canva. And, sometimes you can import PDFs into Canva and they work okay. So we'll see if that works. But ultimately, if you were to offer this, there's not much editing you have to do because I had it made very generic. So it's not going to say any names, it's just a basic guide, right? And it's just kind of neutrally branded, so anybody could really use it, right? And these are just kind of the colors that I told the designer on Fiverr to stick with because they're attractive for ebooks and, for more of like a modern look. So that's kind of what I was going after. And something that you guys can also consider too is when you're offering something for free, right? You don't have to offer the entire bundle, right? You can offer a portion of the bundle for free and then kind of do an upsell. So we'll talk about that too. I was excited to see your win this week. I want you to share it with everyone. That's exciting.
Yeah, I will. I understand the recipe because I get like probably like 3 or 4 people approved for it, but they get low limit like 3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good way to build business credit, bro.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? The banks are just getting really tight with everything. Like I had a client that I handed off to a US rep bank and she's really good, but there was a few challenges that we had with the business. Number one, the business is 2 months old. Okay. That's always going to be a challenge for any business out there because you're a brand new business. So it's really risky to banks right now, right? So they came back with like 3,000 from US Bank. Now, or it was like 3 or 4,000 from US
On
Bank.
a on a
Now,
personal side or on a business.
with a personal guarantee, of course, with a personal guarantee, but with a 2-month-old business. So, they're sending it up for a
Reconsider reconsideration.
reconsideration, right? Because even she was a little shocked that it was a little bit of a lower limit, right? But I wasn't personally because I'm hearing this a lot from just like some of my friends that work in banking that they're being more stingy and they want to see your spending patterns before they just give you the world. So they'll automatically, increase your limits, especially if you max that thing out and pay it off and max it off and pay it off because it's okay to do that on the business side because remember this US bank credit card is not going to report to your personal credit. So you can max that thing out. It's not good to keep it maxed out, of course, but just to show them this is not enough. I need more. And that's when the banks will start automatically, providing you with those credit limit increases based on your spending. So that's what a lot of banks are kind of moving towards. That's how American Express is. Okay. Everyone was shocked when American Express started giving businesses $3,000 to $4,000 on the business plus cards and, those 0% interest business credit cards that don't have an annual fee. I'm not because American Express has some of the most intricate, AI out there. Not only do they have AI, but they have what's called a rat team that goes and investigates social media, people like me that are making videos about American Express, and they tried to find all the hacks that they can to stop them. Okay, so American Express is very, very creative, right? So when you guys see those big limits that people are getting online, it's based on your spending capabilities, and it's also based on your income, right? So people that are getting high limits, it's going to be based on the income level that they put on their application. And what a lot of times is happening to people, and this is happening more or less on when people are applying for the business line of credit with American Express, is they're saying, hey, you're making, a million plus a year. Let's go ahead and see some financial statements. We want to request your tax returns. Deal's dead unless you really make those type of numbers that you put on the application. And if you are working with a funding company, chances of them embellishing that number on the funding applications is that much of a greater chance, right? You want to be realistic, especially with big banks like American Express, because they will request your tax returns, and you don't want them to do that because, then it's kind of like a dead deal, especially if you put some big, outrageous numbers on your application that you just can't back up with those tax returns. So just be mindful. The banks are really cracking down. It's better to have a slow and steady start. And, another thing that you have to consider too is American Express. If someone spends $90,000 with American Express, when do you guys think that's going to be due? Anybody?
30 days.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone know what American Express Bank was created to be?
Charge account.
Charge card company. They are a charge card company, meaning they are a net 30 account. So mess around and spend $90,000 on American Express, and you are going to be in a big crap ton of debt. And guess what? If you don't pay that thing off in 30 days, you don't realize there is a difference between the preset spending limit, which is what people are showing the screenshots of online right now to try to reel people in, and then what your pay over time limit is. Okay? Because again, American Express is a charge card. So if you spend 90K, what is your pay over time limit? Because it might not be 90K. So if you have a pay over time limit of 25,000, they're going to be expecting a big payment, to bring your account current. So I just like to forewarn people. American Express is never the type of credit cards that you want to leave a balance with unless you have some sort of benefit with them. Maybe you have the 0% interest business credit cards. Fine, you could do that because there's no interest for, 18 months, or it used to be 18 months. It's, I think, a year now, but that's fine. But, every other card out there with American Express has a really high interest rate. And yeah, they're great to kind of get businesses going, but people don't talk about having to pay those things back, So, and they're big payments. So just be careful because a lot of people get themselves into debt. And that's why I say slow and steady is always going to win the race. Besides, and you can work up to those numbers. It doesn't mean that you have to use those numbers, but if your spending habits are showing that type of trend, so be it. Great.
Doesn't
But
I'm sorry, Nicole. Doesn't the Plum have 60 days?
yes, the Plum card has like a 60-day turnaround time. So you still have like a minimum that you would have to pay, which is very little, but you would have to pay the full balance within that 60-day period. And they'll give you like a slight cash discount, they call it, if you pay it early. So you could save a little bit. I guess they call it that, but is it really worth it? Doubtful. It's probably going to save you like maybe $1 or something like that. It's not really going to be too much worth it. But yeah, the Plum card is a little bit better for cash flow purposes, but it's got an annual fee. So you got to make sure that you understand you got to pay that annual fee. I don't know what the annual fee is for that card. I have that card and I pay the annual fee every month, but I don't really, that's not a card that I ever really leave a balance on, you know, because I know I got to pay it back in full pretty quickly.
Do you feel like it's worth it with like all the other benefits that come with the card to pay that annual fee?
Probably not, to be honest with you, you know, because you've got the blue business card doesn't have an annual fee, right? Has a usually pretty good welcome bonus, usually has a 0% APR. You can go after that card and the blue business cash and the blue business plus. Those are both no annual fee. Both probably have welcome offers. They look exactly the same, right? And then I would see, you know, okay, if you're someone that travels and could see yourself utilizing the Cetarian lounges and a lot of the travel benefits that they offer, then I would highly recommend investing in the platinum card or one of the platinum card. It can be the Carl Schwab platinum card, any type of Amex platinum membership will get you access to all of the Cetarian lounges inside of all the airports. You get free food, free drinks, you know, power, comfortable settings, and like really nice Cetarian lounges for the most part, right? So you can benefit. And usually, if you travel a lot, that'll pay for the fee itself because I think the annual fee now for a Amex Platinum is like $695 a year, $695 a year. It's expensive. Even the Amex Gold card is, I think, $495 a year. I pay it because, you know, I really utilize the cash back options on the card. You get pretty good ad spend on that card. You get 4 times the points if you're going to be running ads. So that's the card to get for ads for sure. If you're going to run Facebook ads, TikTok, it doesn't matter, any type of ads.
Which
So
card
you'll
were
get,
you talking about? I'm sorry, the gold or which
yeah,
one?
the gold card.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
You'll
yeah.
get 4 times on the 2 highest spent categories. And one of the categories is going to be ads. So that's where you're going to want to spend on that gold card is for ads if you're going to run ads of any sort online, especially like Facebook ads, which are good. I like Facebook ads. Don't get me wrong. The Facebook ads have gotten me a lot of business over time, but you have to be prepared and have a plan when you're running ads, right? Like, are you going to run the ads to the DM or are you going to run the ads to like a funnel? And if you are going to run the ads to a funnel, you have to think like, how's the fastest way that I can collect this person's information? Usually it's going to be through some sort of free lead magnet, like the credit bundle here, right? Because they can sign up, enter their information almost instantly. So at least you collect and own your data that you're paying Facebook for. Bring the data offline into your ecosystem. So now at least you have their contact and you can send them, you know, their free lead magnet, which doesn't even have to be all of this ebook. It could just be a portion of it, but you're providing value, right? And you want to stand out from the rest and over provide. They're not going to be able to consume all this information anyways. So, you know, you got to kind of look after like who's the master at marketing right now. It's these guys that give out all of the value for free. Okay. Don't try to gatekeep this stuff because you're getting it for free. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't even think my camera's on, right? There it goes. You know, you collecting this data and owning your data offline is going to be way more valuable to you over time than it might be today because people have to get to know you, they have to get to like you, and they have to get to trust you in order for them to do business with you. And sometimes that might take a year, that might take 2 years, it might take 2 months, it might take 2 days. We just don't know. There's all different types of people out there. But number one is we have to let the world know what our gift is. We all have a gift. And I've spoken to so many people that are in this mentorship and probably going to be watching this replay. We all have a gift, right? And a lot of people just simply don't know about our gift. Okay. So we have to create what's called content, and it has to be surrounded about our gift. Okay. And letting people know all of the different products and services that we provide, whether you want to focus on credit, business credit, trade lines, whatever, right? There's so many different niches out there. But I'm going to tell you right now, credit is great because everybody needs it. And it's that core of business credit, right? Because everyone that wants business credit, chances are they've got some issues with their personal credit, right? And they've got to fix some of the issues. Maybe they don't have well enough established credit. That was my issue for a really long time. So, I took the long road and the expensive road and built, all these net 30 trade lines and business trade lines with all these different places that cost you an arm and a leg. But if I could redo it all, I would have invested more money into my personal credit in strengthening my personal credit versus buying all of those shitty trade lines. I hate to see it that way, but that's, they're not the best. I would have invested in the much better trade lines, which a lot of people don't understand. There's differences between vendor and supplier trade lines and then credit trade lines, right? So there's two different types of business trade lines, just like there's two different types of personal trade lines. You've got your credit cards and you got your lines of credit, you got your revolving accounts, and then you got your installment accounts. You still have a revolving and installment on the business side, but you also have what's called vendor accounts, like net 30 accounts, right? And if you're wanting to get business credit from a bank, they're going to want to see that you have what's called comparable credit. If you just have a bunch of vendor accounts, in their eyes, your business is still not strong enough. You still need those credit trade lines that are either going to be an installment or a revolving, right? And for the revolving, credit strong is really going to be good because it's a high limit and most states can qualify for it. So you can start building business credit with Credit Strong on the business side, and that's a really good one for, the installment side. And then for the revolving, I have business trade lines. I'm sure other people out there have business trade lines that you can just buy. And even if you have a business that's a few years old, we can backdate the business trade lines. So get quality over quantity. You can still establish your profiles, but I see so many people wasting so much money trying to build business credit when, like, a lot of these places, they're not reporting, they're super slow to report. It seems like you're still having to try to get them to self-report in some cases with Dun and Bradstreet. So it's like a lot of work. And if you can kind of fast track that and then just use your personal credit, you're going to be a lot better off because you're going to be able to get lines of credit and business credit cards with real banks and financial institutions that are going to give you some pretty good terms. You know what I mean? I was telling you guys about the new business that I sent over to US Bank. He was only 2 months old, right? He had a really good credit score, though. I think his credit was like 750 plus, right? So he had good credit. But since the business was fairly new, I think they only gave him like 3 or 4,000. They're going to send it up to get it reconsidered. But I was like, I don't have high hopes for the reconsideration just because of the time in business, because I know banks are tightening up. So, we had already talked about the strategy behind that, right? How are we going to get them to increase the credit limit? You max it out, you pay it off. You max it out, you pay it off. You got to use this credit. And in many cases, what these banks are doing, like Chase and US Bank, they're really just testing you guys at first, right? To see, Like that's a drop in the bucket for them. We all know that, right? But they're really just testing us to say, okay, do they need more? Are they going to use what we give them? And if they see that you're actually using it and paying it off and doing that multiple times a month, or even just paying like large payments towards it, paying it back, aggressive with it, they're going to increase your limit, especially doing that after like 90 days, just maxing it out, paying it off, maxing it out, paying it off. Get in the habit of doing that. And within 90 days, they're probably going to double your limit or at least bump you up to like 20K or so. And then after you build a relationship with the business credit card, guess what's up next? What's the next business product that we all need to be focusing on after that business credit card? Anybody know?
Line of credit or
Mhm. Line of credit. Why? Because the line of credit is flexible. You can usually get up to $50,000 business line of credit without having to show many documents, right? In some cases, they might ask for, your business setup information, and, you should already have that readily available. And to be honest with you, before you go and apply for funding for any bank, you need to have your corporate folder together, okay? And you need to have all your corporate documents. You need to have your business plan in there. You can use, ChatGPT to have your business plan put together, but everything needs to be inside of like a corporate folder, whether that's a physical folder or some sort of, Google folder. Everything needs to be presentable to the bank. And if you're going in person, you need to have a physical binder with all this stuff to present to them because they like that. And they're going to put that in their notes. And, everything in the bank is recorded. Okay. They're not wearing a microphone, but your conversation that you're having inside of the bank is recorded. So they're limited on what they can really say to you. So that's why you want to come in there prepared, and you want to be mindful of what your answers are going to be. Because does anyone know what the bank's going to ask you when you're going in there to apply for any sort of business product?
what industry your business is in or what
Yes.
it
How do
does?
you make money?
Mm-hmm.
How do you make money? What do you do? Okay. You need to be prepared for that answer. It needs to be 2 sentences maximum. Okay. What do you do? Okay. And how do you make money? That's what they want to do in short form. Okay. They don't want you to go off on a tangent. I was dealing with this one guy and I couldn't appreciate him more than anything. And he looked at me sideways and he said, "Look, I have to type all this stuff in here. So can you just tell me in simple form how you make money?" And I said, "Got it. I help business owners grow." "Okay, perfect. That's great." In so many words, they just want to put a short amount of information in there to provide the bank a sufficient explanation on how you're going to pay this shit back. Okay. What's your cash flow? How do you make money? How are you going to pay this back? Right. And then most importantly, what's your income? What's your projected income? Right. We have to be ready for those numbers. You have to be ready with a business plan to project to them how you plan to allocate these funds, right? Even though it's not a requirement, you want to be over prepared for the bank, right? Even if he doesn't want to see it, it's going to impress the bank so much. You having all of your business files together, presentable, you have your Secretary of State in good standing, put a gold seal on it to make it look even more official, order one from the state, make it look really presentable, okay? Because at the end of the day, the banks want to deal with real business owners, right? Another thing we have to do is make sure that our business can be found online, okay? I've put different places that you got to list your business with, and that way you're going to start ending up on the search engines, get on Bing, get on Google, get on, Yahoo, list my business. You got to list yourself on all of these different apps, including, what is it? Some of these that are like next door, right? You got to list yourself on there. You got to list yourself on Yelp. Okay. And funny enough, sometimes people have a Yelp account, but they don't even know it, right? And that just is because your business information was shared, but you just haven't claimed the page. Sometimes you have to claim the page if you already have a Yelp page, but definitely get on Yelp because your Yelp listing is going to be important, right? They want to make sure that all of these listings for your business remain the same. Same business name, same business address, same business telephone number, so all the information will remain the same, especially on your application, on your Secretary of State documents. All of that information needs to be the same. You need to have some sort of online presence. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. You just need to have some sort of, bank ready website. And what a lot of people do is just make like a dummy website for banks to go to and just make sure that you are a legitimate business and actually have a website online. And that's fine. It doesn't need to be the same website that you would give to, say, your clients. You can have two different websites. Your website doesn't need to be your exact business name or vice versa. You have a lot of flexibility there. So sometimes we have to be creative. Okay. I just had one of my clients call me today and was kind of freaking out because one of their merchant accounts was shut down because a lot of these processors out here, like Wave and Square, they don't like credit repair. Even Stripe is like pushing it. PayPal, none of these places really like credit repair. And if they find out that people are using it, they face a lot of, scrutiny behind it, and they could potentially just shut down your accounts. And that's what, Square and Wave has been doing a lot, okay? And I believe that they must share data between themselves because it seems like they're kind of happening back to back. Someone's getting, booted off of Square, and then all of a sudden Waves to follow. So I've kind of been seeing a pattern of that. So if you do use Square or Wave, you probably want to look into alternative ways to, offer, this type of service, because if they catch on to it, they will close your account. And it's kind of scary the way that they do it. So I'll leave some recommendations on some credit repair friendly merchant accounts. One is, USA Bank Card. And then the other one is Coastal Pay, and I'll put their links inside of the school. But honestly, when you are signing up with these type of accounts, they especially don't want to see large payments, okay? Meaning they don't want you to, like, off the bat start charging people $1,000 for service, right? That's like not what they like to see, and that's going to cause issues for you with these type of merchant accounts. Okay. So you got to kind of find a creative way to charge someone a monthly fee, or charge someone maybe a larger upfront fee and then a monthly fee, especially with all of this, TSR stuff going on. Basically, that's, the telemarketing sales rule, where especially with these type of merchant accounts, they don't want you charging a large upfront fee for a credit repair. Now, if it's a different type of program and you have an agreement with your client based on a, coaching program or a funding program, and you send them your agreements on that and say, look, this is not for credit repair, this is for a different type of service, they would still probably be able to honor that, but at least they have the agreement. And sometimes it is kind of frustrating because with these type of companies, if it's a larger charge, they could reach out to your client and also verify the transaction. So that's why you have to have that signed contract. And to be honest, there's a lot of ways that you can do this signed contracts. There's a lot of different programs out there that you can use, like gosh, I can't even think of them, but there's so many out there that you can use for the e-documents, for e-signing. I mean, I've used so many of them, and there's some out there that I just keep subscriptions on. And to be honest, I can't even think of the name of them right now, but there's so many out there, and it doesn't really matter which document service you use, but you can e-doc the stuff over, have it signed by your client, and you can do that inside of Credit Repair Cloud too. And that's what the great thing is when you're using software is you have the client e-sign the documents inside of something like Credit Repair Cloud. Even if it's a funding agreement, you can put in custom agreements inside of Credit Repair Cloud, and it'll automatically fill those agreements in when you select which agreement that you are, opting in for your particular client. And they don't all have to be for credit repair. They can be for funding, they can be for coaching, they can be for other things besides just credit. But if you're just doing credit, you want to be clear with these people when you're signing up. What's the most that I can charge somebody up front for, credit repair? Because from what I kind of gathered from the people that I see using it, they don't really like to see, transactions over $500 until you've kind of worked up to that. Okay. And it's kind of trigger, a verification. And you just don't want that with the merchant accounts. You want everything to go smooth. So that's why I recommend, just charging a lower ticket, product for a while, especially when you're first starting out. You can see if you can charge someone $2.99 to start, or $3.99, or the most that you could potentially charge someone without getting red flagged as a brand new user. You just have to understand what that number would be for yourself. So that way you can kind of fly under the radar and, have sales and do offers where you can charge a little bit less. So that way you're bringing in more transactions, and the more transactions that you do, the better you're building the relationship with the merchant account. Because I'll tell you, there's a lot when it comes to these merchant accounts. And that's why a lot of people use Stripe and, use Wave and Square, because they don't charge much. They don't charge a reserve, and when you use some of these merchant accounts, they have what's called a reserve. So say you charge somebody, $750, they're probably going to take 30 to 40% of that and put it into a reserve account. So in case that transaction charges back, your reserve account will be able to cover that, because it is like a more riskier type of merchant account. But every bank out there has merchant accounts. Chase is they have a really good merchant services. So if you already have a relationship with a bank and you already have a business bank account, you can go to that bank and see if you can apply for a merchant account, and I highly recommend it, because it's an easy way to get a really, solid merchant account. Then you can connect it to something like authorize.net, which you can pretty much connect to anything. Authorize.net is going to act as kind of like the connection between your merchant account and like the gateway. So if you guys are familiar or you have questions, let me know. But you definitely are going to need those two components. You're going to need some authorize.net account, which is usually pretty cheap. It's like $25 a month for authorize.net. And usually if you get a merchant account with a decent bank, there could be a fee, but they're always going to tell you what your fees are going to be and what your percentages are going to be before you sign the contract. So you just have to understand what those numbers are. Does anyone have questions about that? All right. Well, let's get into some of the weekly wins. I was talking with Darwin, and he had some good news that he wanted to share. Darwin, are you on the call? I think I saw you earlier.
Yes, I am, but I'll be like because I have a birthday together at my house, but I'm here though.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell your story for you then. So Darwin was able to get 6,000 from Divvy, which is the EIN only business credit card. And that's pretty good just to help you get started, especially because it's a charge card that you can use to start building credit with. They'll report to Dun and Bradstreet. It's a good builder card for the business. So he got 6,000 and that's EIN only. They did a soft pull on his personal credit, but that's kind of expected with a lot of these type of places that are on the business side that are EIN only. Even with Capital on Tap, if you guys are familiar with them, they're still going to perform a soft pull, and a lot of these banks too are also going to want to connect to Divvy, or I'm sorry, through your bank accounts, right? So if Divvy is like, hey, we want to connect via Plaid to your bank account, you have to connect your bank account in order to get approved. And that's how a lot of these places are approving people, especially when you see it on, like, say, for example, YouTube, right? Some of these big YouTube stars are showing their approvals. Well, yeah, of course they're going to get approval for, big numbers because they're connecting to your bank account via Plaid. And I'm sure you have an exceptional credit score because they're going to soft pull the guarantors or the business owner. They're not going to just give someone a big amount unless their cash flow can prove to be handled by that. So banks are definitely getting a little bit more strict, because I remember Divvy used to give like 30,000 like off the bat. It was crazy. They used to give super high limits. But 6 is a good number to start with because they will increase it pretty quickly. Okay. We use it, pay it. Divvy's like a charge card as well. So whatever you spend, you have to pay. I actually had a client that got Divvy before. He didn't fully understand how it was used. He maxed the card out, and I think the card was like 11,000 or something. It was a large amount, right? He wasn't expecting them to pull all of that money out of his bank account. So they wiped his bank account of, everything that he owed, basically. He was like, they wiped my account. What do I do? I'm like, there's nothing you can do. It's a net 30 account. So you have to be prepared to pay the balance in full, but it's just a great way to get some charges onto your business credit report. So great win on that. I'm excited. Any other wins
Yeah, I
for
can. Hello.
anybody?
I can give like a quick like explanation about like your card, especially because you do what you call like a pre-application, like a pre-approval, where they ask you like to select the range of your credit score. But from my experience, like if you say like you below 7, they will not let you go to the second step. But you
Mm,
have to mention like you're 740 and above, and then of course they will link your biz bank account to make sure like you have like financial transaction going on. And once they link your account, like they might do a further verification, actually like to upload like a 3 or 4 bank statements. But I feel like they do a soft pull on your personal, but it's not something that hurting your score. But they
yeah,
most
no,
likely
they
like go,
definitely
yeah.
do. They definitely
Hmm.
do. If you look
And
at
then,
your reports, you'll see soft pulls from these
yes.
guys, but it doesn't
Hmm.
affect you. Your
No, not at
nose
all.
is going to see it. So it's like
Yes.
no big deal.
Hmm.
It's the same thing
And
if
then,
Credit Karma were to look at
mhm.
your credit.
And then the other beauty of it too, like they say, like they started you off with a net 30, which is going to graduate to your next 60, and then which is going to graduate to your next 90. So once you net on a net 90 term, once you purchase something and then you have 90 days to pay. That means like let's say you get a car for like 20,000, you could literally use 10,000 and make an investment, and then you have 90 days to put that money back if you know what you're doing. I feel
See,
like
the
it's a good
program's getting
opportunity.
better. That's a
Mm-hmm.
new thing with
Mm-hmm.
Divvy. And that's actually a really good incentive for people because 90 days is a pretty good amount of time. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Oh yes, sorry. Yes, yes, like I said, like it's a good opportunity. And then like, make sure like, like before you apply, so you have the DUNS number. I think like those kind of like, data help you get your approval even faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have your foundation set up right. Even though I'm not like a huge fan of Dun and Bradstreet, it's still important. You still have to set it up because there are places that still look at it. There are banks that still look at Dun and Bradstreet. So it's important to have it established, and at least have an 80 paydex score. And they're so easy to get. All you have to do is get 3 to 4 trade lines reported, even if they're just a net 30. You just have to get like 3 on-time payments reported to get an 80 paydex score. And that's really all you need. I mean, there's no point in having a 90. That just means that you pay early and it's not going to get you any sort of special approvals. I haven't really seen a huge difference in it. So as long as you have 75 and above, you're pretty good. But where people mess up is they get late payments or they get slow payments, slow to pay, reported to Dun& Bradstreet. And once you get those things reported, they're really hard to get corrected. So it's really important that you understand that there is no grace period for business credit reporting like there is with personal credit. So, like with personal credit, we're not going to get a late payment until we've gone 30 days past the due date, right? We're going to get a 30-day late payment. But say we go 15 days past the due date and then we pay our late fee and we pay the account to current, we're not going to get a late, right? Because we weren't 30 days late. But on the business side, if you pay 15 days late, you're going to get what's called a slow to pay, meaning, hey, look out for this person because they were kind of slow to pay on their invoice. You don't want that. You want pay on time. So it's really important to make sure that they get their payment at least 5 days prior to the due date. Okay. And you understand all of those dates are like rock solid. Okay. You cannot get a late payment on the business side. Just, it's so damaging. Okay. You could literally ruin everything that you've built so hard with one account that reported late. And, you could go through the process of trying to correct it, of course, but it doesn't always mean that it's going to get corrected, and it could take a long time fighting with Dun and Bradstreet. So let's go ahead and open it up. Does anyone else have any questions, by the way, or anything that they would like to share tonight?
I have a question. It's
Sure.
Stacy. How y'all been?
Hey,
How y'all
Stacy.
doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I've been better. I got a lot of stuff going on, but I'll be okay. I had a question. I want to start my credit repair journey, and I'm just going through a lot of personal stuff, and I don't want to. I really want to get started on it, but it's just like I don't want to. While I'm having the urge to do it, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Start sending letters, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
have an address. Like I'm not homeless, but I don't have an address where I feel comfortable like getting mail at right now. So is it possible I can use a PO box? I was asking that in the community, and nobody
Oh,
say nothing.
yeah. Yeah, you can use they have iPostal ones. Um you don't want to use a PO box. Okay? It can be a mail receiving company on the personal side because and that's okay, but you just want it to be an address, right? So you might have to pay a little bit more for like a better address with iPostal One because you don't want it to necessarily be like a PO box. You don't want it to be a postal annex. You want it to look like it's a real address. And they do have, commercial locations too for like $20 a month that you can get mail at. And that might be a better option because it's an actual like building address and it could be, your mailing address.
Is it possible
Okay.
to, oh, sorry, Stacy. Is it possible to get your mail forwarded? Like just do a mail forward with the USPS website?
Yeah, you
Is
can do that.
that
Um,
like a workaround?
yeah, you can definitely do that. But when these places get your mail, every place is a bit different, right? So whoever you have your agreement with, like it's going to be iPostal One, but obviously iPostal One is partnered with somebody, right? So you need to call that somebody and say, "Hey, I just got a mailbox with you guys through iPostal One, and I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page about my mail and whether you're going to get it forwarded because they're going to scan it into their system, but they also have options at some places where they can just put it into like a big folder for you and forward it to you like once a month or, every bi-weekly or whatever you sign up for. You just have to have a credit card on file for them to charge you for the postage. So if you can get
Okay.
that type of deal, that's ultimately, the best because you can just set up an auto monthly where they just forward you all of the mail that they've received on your behalf. Or, like in some cases, if it's a local address, you can go pick it up. They'll hold it for you and you can just go pick it up.
Yeah.
So, whatever works best for you.
I have another question. I've been trying, so apartment tried to pull my credit, and I know it could be pulled because everybody else put it and seen it. And they said it was a consumer report, a consumer statement saying that I have a lock on it and I have to unlock it for them. But I have the hardest time talking to the credit bureaus. Like they got all this
Yeah.
AI, and I can't talk to a real rep. Like it's like, but I don't think it's locked. I really believe my Innovis or my Sage Stream is locked, and that's what they're looking at. Because the actual three are not locked. Now it's a fraud alert on there,
Yeah,
but it's
that's
not
that's what
locked.
it is. It's a fraud alert. So, with their systems, right? Since you have a fraud alert on your credit report, it's not able to deliver it to them. So, because of the fraud alert, right? Because they would actually have to like call you and get verification or follow the instructions on the fraud alert. But some systems just are not built for that, right? So, you got to take the fraud alerts off. Who do you have fraud alerts with?
Well, when they did the credit repair, they put them on all three. But see, that's why I I thought freezes was like that. I didn't know fraud alerts were like that.
Yeah,
Freezes mean
fraud alerts will do it to somebody as well. I had the same thing happen to a client recently. He had fraud alerts on his credit report. He went to a car dealership, thought he was about to buy a car with his shitty ass credit in his repo that he just got. Fucking so mad, but that's another story. But he had a fraud alert on his credit report. And it doesn't mean that we requested it. Sometimes they just put it there because we're disputing stuff on our credit and it might be a note of some sort, but it's looked at as a consumer statement. And sometimes they have to verify you, call the phone number that's listed on the credit report in order to be able to get access to your credit. And a lot of times the credit bureaus will just block them from getting it. Like the car dealership said, we can't even see your credit report. We don't even know what your credit score is. The credit bureaus won't deliver us the report, So in most cases, what we'd have to do is call the credit bureau, get to the fraud department, say, hey, I'm applying for something. You got a fraud alert on my credit report. I never put a fraud alert and I never requested a fraud alert, but I need you to remove this fraud alert immediately. So it's really important that you get through to somebody, even if you have to treat it very aggressively. Like, Willie said he had to call every day, all day to finally get what he wanted with these credit bureaus. Fastest way and, easiest way to get your fraud alert off. Now there are some backup, measures, of course, sending a letter in, but that is going to be slow. What I would do is if I had a fraud alert with Experian, I would handwrite a, letter to Experian saying, "Hey, Experian, I have a fraud alert on my credit report. I need you to remove all consumer statements from my credit report. And I've attached proof of who I am, and just upload that to Experian.com/upload, and then call Experian and say, "Hey, Experian, I need you to remove this fraud alert. I've already sent in proof via Experian upload on who I am and how this is affecting me." It doesn't need to be anything fancy. It just needs to be, "Hey, I'm trying to apply for something. I have a consumer fraud alert on my credit report. I need it removed." Very simple. You can even, put something into ChatGPT, say, "Hey, do a letter for me to remove my consumer fraud alerts on this credit bureau or that credit bureau." But you have to get that done, because you're going to continue to have issues for anything that you apply for as long as you have those consumer fraud alerts on your credit report.
And then Equifax told me today, like, you still got to send in your bills and your ID. I said I did that 3 times before when they unlocked it with.
Yeah,
So I'm like, why would I have to resend that in? Y'all got that in. They keep, and then they always saying they missing something, and I send it in
every
like three
time
times.
you have to send it to them. They are going to make everything hard for you guys. You have to understand this. So every time you communicate with these people, okay, these companies, these for-profit companies, remember, we are not their customer, okay? They're not going to make it easy for us. The only way that they would make it easy for us is if we became their customer, okay? So sometimes we have to sign up for their membership so we can now become a member so we can get someone to help us, all right? Because now we're a customer. And you can sign up for the free Experian membership and call into their membership and say, "Hey, I need help getting this resolved. I need to talk to the fraud alert. Please transfer me to a live person." And then, they'll transfer you over so you can have them remove that stuff from your credit report. But you got to get really aggressive if you want them to help you. The numbers that you find online sometimes are not helpful. And I'm hearing more and more people say, "I can't get through." Well, call membership, tell them to transfer you to the fraud department. You need to speak to a human.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it again tomorrow. It's been so
Mm.
hard with Experian.
Yeah. And
Equifax and the other
again,
two don't work, but it's just
every
Experian.
time you send in anything to these people, whether it's "correct my name and address," or "these inquiries are wrong and fraudulent and I want you to remove them," or "unauthorized," whatever the case may be, you always have to send in proof of address that's been dated within the last 60 days that can prove your address, that will match an address on your credit report, right? Photo ID. Now, photo ID doesn't necessarily need to have the most accurate address. It would be helpful if it did, but if it doesn't, I would recommend sending in a copy of your social security card to further say you are who you say you are, and then one additional form of proof of address. It can be, some sort of utility bill, but it has to be dated, more recent than anything, at least within the last 60 days. And, sometimes they are just difficult to deal with, and that's just, they're not going to make it easy for us sometimes. So you really have to get aggressive with this. And, sometimes you have to become the customer so you can get them to help you. You can get membership support to help you, and that's real. I've really come to find that out about the credit bureaus. And I'm going to tell you guys just a quick story too. Like this gentleman, I met him many, many years ago, and he was referred to me by a mortgage company. And this is how he found all of his business for credit repair. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't send out dispute letters or anything like that." I'm like, "Well, what the hell would I be paying you for?" And, he was basically breaking it down that he gets all of his clients from the mortgage company, but, in order to qualify for a mortgage, you can't have any debt on your profile. So a lot of times he does debt settlement, but most of his time is spent on the phone with the credit bureaus with like his clients on three-way because he helps them speak their way through things because a lot of people don't know how to speak to the credit bureaus, right? And he just says, hey, I'm helping my family member, I'm helping my friend. And he'll also do the whole debt settlement with charge-offs, so a lot of his work was spent on the phone with the credit bureaus, and it was like all day. That's what he did, was spend time on the phone with the credit bureaus to get those results as fast as the mortgage company needed them. And that's how he got all of his business. All of his business was referred by the mortgage company. And he would get the credit bureaus over the phone to take stuff off completely legally. And, it was like, probably a lot easier back then. This was probably 5, 6 years ago, but even now, you can still get those same results, but you have to be really aggressive, and you really have to treat this like a job until it's done. And if you're not getting the results, you can't be like, oh, well, fuck, it just doesn't work. Unfortunately, you just can't because no one's going to pick up for you. You have to do this stuff. Maybe you need a break. Okay, this week I just don't want to deal with it. Okay. But Monday I'm picking up the pieces and I'm starting to call at 8 a.m. in the morning and I'm not getting off the phone until at least one after another is done. Okay. Mark it off the list. Experian. Okay. They're done. Fraud removed. Should be updated within 48 hours, right? That's the most important one, is probably Experian, because most, you know, how do you say it? Rental companies, property management companies, most of those type of companies are going to be looking at Experian just because it's, the most popular credit place to pull. Even I think Zillow, if you create a Zillow account, they're still looking at your Experian credit report. And usually it's a Vantage score that they're using to, get you approved with, which is kind of interesting. I've seen a lot of approvals used a Vantage 3.0, Vantage 4.0, and as long as someone has, at least a 700, some states 680 will do it for you, but I'm in California and most places out here in California want at least a 700 credit score. They're not necessarily tripping if you have, collection accounts on your credit in some cases, but as long as you have, close to that 700 credit score, usually you can get approved. But they're not even going to be able to access anything if you have fraud alerts on your credit profile. So you got to get those cleared up. And then if they're still having issues after that, then you know that it's probably the secondary bureaus. More than likely, it's going to be like LexisNexis. That's what a lot of insurance companies use. A lot of stuff is put through LexisNexis. So then you have to kind of go down that rabbit hole and call them to unlock your report for a few days and then have them run it again. So sometimes it can be frustrating. That's why, ultimately we just got to make sure that we treat it like a job until it's done and just keep chipping away at this damn ice block because they're not going to make it easy for us. They're really not, especially in this day and age. Everything, it seems like it's just getting harder with AI because it's so much harder to get a real freaking human on the phone. And I'm just hearing that more and more from people. So, like I said, become the client, become the customer. They have to help you if you're a customer. Any questions so far? All right, so let's go over this credit bundle. You guys see it's a 203-page book. So you can give this thing for free, which is what I would use it for because it's, anyone can pretty much use this branding. You can even replace the cover photo, right? So I'm going to put this PDF inside of school for you guys to rebrand it. Now, if you wanted to change anything inside of the ebook, there's a few ways that you can download this thing and kind of make it your own. Number one, you can import the PDF into your Canva account, and usually that'll import things pretty well. Sometimes it can get kind of funky when you import things, but this should be pretty user friendly. And then you can kind of edit it inside of Canva. Or you can use Adobe Acrobat, which is what I use here, and you can actually edit PDFs inside of Adobe Acrobat. You would just go to edit. And, I love Adobe Acrobat because of the fact that, guess what? You can also edit documents inside of Adobe Acrobat. So a lot of times, what I'll have to do in some cases is when we get that letter back from, say, Capital One or one of these banks that's like, oh, thanks for your letter. Here's a generic response. Basically, we're not helping you with your goodwill. Sometimes we'll just edit the letter to say, they've updated to paid as agreed. And then we'll use that letter to send it to the credit bureaus as proof, like, hey, how are you verifying this late payment? I have a letter here from the bank that says it was paid as agreed. I demand that you remove this account if you're not going to report it accurate, or, remove this late payment to paid as agreed. Because a lot of times when you are going for a mortgage, they don't want to see any late payments. They don't want to see any late payments within at least the last 24 months. But now is the time to get right with all of your late payments, guys. If you don't have everything on auto pay, get it on auto pay. We cannot afford to get any late payments because they are such a setback for so many people in so many ways. And we're going to start seeing more and more people suffering from late payments, just the way that our economy is, how expensive things are, and, how much credit card debt that, people are already in. So we have to make sure we are really preaching the, importance of being able to pay these credit obligations back as agreed on time, especially if you're going to be helping people acquire credit or if you're going to be getting credit for yourself, right? Because I see a lot of people get themselves into debt and, yeah, they probably needed it, but now you got to have a plan on how you're going to pay this back, okay? And the credit bundle here, you can absolutely sell it for a small ticket, and maybe even create, a second version of this as a free lead magnet because it's 203 pages. So it's a lot of information here, and it's just a lot of, amazing value that you can give someone that they're like, wow, anybody else would have probably charged me for that. And if you see something that you want to change or that you want to add, you can just use Adobe Acrobat, come in here and maybe edit the phone numbers, right? You're like, no, there's a better phone number, or I want to tell them to, become a member so they can get better assistance, right? Drop in more gems and more game for free for people. And a lot of times, people will never read this. They'll never go through it. It's true because a lot of people will probably get to like page 20 and then, they're like, okay, well, I'll just come back to this later. People have a very, short attention span. But guess what? They're always going to remember you for providing value, right? So we always want to be figuring out how can we be over providing value than say my other three, competitors that people might look at to do business with instead of me, right? How are we going to stand out from everyone else? You have to provide value. Like I put together like this credit kit online that I give people for free. And it's just a Google, link with a bunch of files and it's all great information and someone could totally charge for that, right? But I want to over provide and over deliver information because what happens is, do you think that someone is going to be able to truly consume all of that information? Does anyone think so? No.
Nope.
No.
You know what, Nicole? I was kind of thinking the same thing. And I'm actually gonna email you my book this weekend, but I was thinking the same thing because my book is like over 300 pages and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I hope people like really read this, but I don't even know if they're gonna really like go through every page.
You know, we would hope that one would, right? But just me selling courses, I see the percentage of people that finish their courses, and most people get to like nowhere past 50% usually, right? On average, I see about 30% completion, right? So that means like people are like, oh man, this is like so much information, right? I'm gonna have to come back to it when it's a better time for me to sit down and be quiet. And then, okay, great, now's that time. They can only consume so much, right? At a time. And some people are avid readers, and those are great people, but your average person that has a family, that has a career, has very little time to hear those things. So what I really like about, ebooks is creating an audio version of the ebook, because you're going to get people that can listen to that audio book driving to work. They can listen to that while they're at work. And that's what was super helpful for me when I was learning, and I wanted to listen to people's stories and I was really interested, but I just couldn't sit there for a long enough period of time to like read an ebook. So I had to find a solution, which the audiobook, right? So, users can buy audiobooks on Amazon for like pretty, cheap. And sometimes they even get the audiobooks with like some of their bundle if they buy so much stuff, right?
Do you
But
record the audio yourself or do you use like
you can
11
record it
Labs?
yourself, but you can also hire someone to read your audiobook. Like, they have professional voice audio people. And you know what I was thinking is, when I was listening to a lot of those audiobooks on Amazon, it sounded like AI. So you can see if you can find AI
Oh yeah,
to
11 Labs is really good.
right, to read the ebook to the user. And I think if you could break it up into consumptional chapters for them, they would be able to consume that information, because generally, people aren't going to listen or watch for longer than maybe 20 minutes, right? And even that's pushing it. Now it's like 8 to 12 minutes is optimal, right? For content. You want to get, short, consumable information out there. But even like with the audiobooks, if they're in chapters, people can listen to them and consume them little by little, right? And that's the great thing about these audiobooks. So that might be something that you want to look into, is doing the audiobook and then actually putting the audiobook on like Amazon, um, and you can find someone on Fiverr to help you get it listed and stuff like that if you don't know how to. That's what I did. I had my book listed on Amazon with someone from Fiverr, but the main thing is just getting the audio for it in like chapters.
I have a question, Nicole. I want to say this, that I'll be honest, I only skimmed through 20 pages of that bundle. I thought you were gonna sell it to someone. I really believe you could really, that bundle's over a $200-300 bundle
Oh
easily.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I paid the person on Fiverr. I had so many different pieces of information. I said, look, I want you to put all this shit into a bundle for me. And some of it's a little outdated, and some of this shit might not even work anymore, like the 609 letter, right?
I've seen that.
The backdated method, right? 609 is like a
Wait,
bunch
you
of
just
bullshit.
pay somebody on Fiverr to do it?
I
Yeah,
wanted to
I
ask you that
paid
too, because I'm
someone.
like, I know she did not
Oh
write this all
wow.
the way out. Like,
No,
I can't
no,
do that.
no. I
I
paid
was
this gentleman on Fiverr. It took him about a good month to complete this ebook,
wow.
but I sent him a ton of like just guides and different stuff that I had and I had collected over time. And I said, put all this stuff into a bundle because this is a great, free bundle kit that I can give to someone as value. And that's kind of what I was thinking of, like, giving this for free because it's a whole do-it-yourself guide to repairing your credit, right? But the amount of people that are actually going to do something with it is very unlikely, right? And I want to over provide value to people because we all know that we could charge someone for this, right? It's a lot of information. But and you could totally still charge someone for this. You could put it into a course. You can break this up. There's different volumes. This is volume 2, talks about funding, you know, um, and you could change out some of this information. If you're like, oh no, that's outdated, change it, update it. But that's the beauty of these things. I didn't make it branded to like one company. I just had it kind of neutrally made so that way everyone could have value that they can give to somebody or they can give to their audience to start owning their own data. Because owning your own data is going to be more valuable than anything out there, right? And the chances of when someone sees all this stuff in this book, oh, she's got the 24-hour, he's got this, he's got that, ultimate dispute letters, all this stuff. That's going to be like, wow, they could have charged me for this, but they gave it to me for free. So hopefully when they think about, who they're going to sign up with, they'll think about you because you provided them with more value than anybody else out there, right? Even if they were to buy a DIY credit repair ebook, do you honestly think that it's going to be anywhere near 200 pages long? Like, I'm seeing some of the ebooks that people are selling right now and they're a fucking joke. Like,
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck is this
Hmm.
fucking go? Like, oh
It's
my
base level
God,
information, like the old
Exactly.
information everybody knows. Like,
man, what in the chat GBT is this? You know what I mean? Like, it is AI at its finest. And like, don't get me wrong, I get it, but that type of stuff should be, per value provided, and I'm just seeing some of these ebooks and like some of the stuff that people are like legit charging $47 to $97 to get access to, right? But they're really good marketers. They're great marketers. If you have the gift to market like these people, you could charge 47 to 97 easy for this and still be over providing value to people. Okay? Easy, right? You could break this up into different PDFs so it's a different volume. You can put it into a course if you wanted to. That's the beauty about this stuff being like non-branded. The way that I had them make it is it could be applicable to anybody out there, and there's very little that you actually have to do. Go through it, see if you want to update anything, but it's all, and this is like a business credit one. So it's got personal credit, it's got business credit, it's got, you know, all of this kind of stuff in there for people to be like, wow, like they gave me so much information, right? It's got the vendors in there. These are some of the same vendors that I gave you guys before in the vendors or lenders list. A lot of the same lenders, right? Same information, but I had them put it into here. So it's still value. And I can't tell me how many times I've actually gone back to like these type of things when I was building business credit and be like, man, where are some of the places that I could actually go to, right? And if you're anything like me, you're going to figure out what are some of the places that I can go to that I can build an affiliate relationship with and give this for free and still make money off of it, right? Because you can create an affiliate relationship with the CEO creative. You can create a relationship with some of these places, not all of them, right? But if you go to like Creative Analytics website, you'll have You go to the bottom of any website, you can see where you can become a partner or become an affiliate, right? They have an affiliate program. And I've actually created a video on creative analytics like years ago, and it's still making me money. And I did it one time and it's super old, but it's still producing. And I did the work once. So it's a pretty good opportunity to be an affiliate for them. You know, any place that you see here, that's not like a major place, like, you know, obviously Uline's not going to have much of like an affiliate program, but you can go to any of these places' websites and see if they have an affiliate program. It's always at the very, very bottom of their website. Most of these places want to affiliate with people. You just have to prove that you have a big enough following. Stacy, you have a question?
Yeah, just really quick. I was
Mhm.
doing my little research on Instagram and stuff like that, and I was trying to see, like, I'm gonna just be very raw and uncut. In our culture, black culture or whatever, in business or whatever, as far as credit repair, it's just like a certain aesthetic and look. You know what I'm saying? And there's a big numbers or whatever. Like
Yeah,
flashy guys like
that's called
Smitty,
lifestyle marketing.
lifestyle marketing. And a
Yes.
lot of them are doing, even the ladies in credit are doing it. And it was just kind of like they just have this certain aesthetic, and it's just like, where do I start? Even if I got into this, like, where would I fall in line with? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't my style. I want to have like a soft girl look. I don't want to have like a rapper girlfriend scammer Atlanta look. Like, I'm just being honest. So it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't, and then like
I mean,
my Instagram is so dry.
I don't
I
think
don't know.
I do lifestyle marketing and I do just fine. You have to find your people. You have to find your tribe, right? You have to be yourself. I don't know if that's who they really
Mhm.
are. I don't think any of us know that, right? So I feel like you just
But
being
it's
real.
salesy. Like,
It is.
people
It is.
buy
It
it.
is
They
salesy,
really
right?
buy it. Like,
Mm-hmm. But you know what it is being seen in nice cars, being seen in nice clothes. Um, you know,
Perception.
exactly, perception, right? So, how do we get that perception? You know, obviously we're gonna need to have a nice car. We need to have a nice outfit or a few nice outfits to record some of this content. But I guarantee you, once you record the content, you can repurpose that content on so many different levels. It could literally make you money for years. Okay. And that's what people are doing. You know, they're hiring a videographer to they're renting cars. Okay. A lot of times these people are putting money in together to rent private jets and a videographer so they can get content on the only private jet, right, that they will probably ever have. And it's totally out of their, you know, normal characteristics, but yet that's the type of content that's going to be attractive to people, right? So I like for content purposes, you got to hire a videographer, right? You're going to have to rent a nice car if you don't have someone that you can rent a nice car from. Turo is perfect for this. You rent the car, you're at the top of the parking garage. They, you know, film you pulling in slow motion. They get the car shining, beaming. You know, those are the type of shots that do well. Let me show you an example, actually. I don't know if this is still this lady's intro or not, right? But it was a great aesthetic. And I was like, oh man, the videographer did a great job because he captured all of that, you know, and it looked cool, you know. And this gal, she's pretty popular on uh YouTube, I guess. I don't know, but she's gotten into some trouble before too. This girl right here.
I have been thinking about doing some lifestyle marketing stuff. The only thing, I guess my only hang up is like I just want to be authentic. Like I
That's
actually
how I
think
am too. I'm like,
like
I'm not feeling
yeah,
the whole
like
fucking
and
lifestyle marketing
to be
bullshit.
honest, to be honest, like I drive a Mercedes Benz.
So do
I have a sister that has a Range Rover. I could always flex in our cars and all that
Right.
stuff.
But
But
it's
it's
like
like,
so
but what? Like this
unauthentic.
is
Right.
so fake. You know, like even though like sure I could live this or afford this or whatever, but like just flaunting it just feels weird. I know it's good for marketing and people like to see that, but it's yeah.
All right. Well, let's see if this hold on.
Delivered today, I'm going to give you guys a student loan update based on the Biden administration, what they're doing.
Come on. Here it is. Okay. Prime example.
Yeah, I saw this one.
Low key, that's probably a rental.
That's a good shot.
Yeah.
Rose getting it though. Rose getting it.
Man. So tell me that wasn't simple, right? You could take this lady's video and say, look, Mr. Videographer, this is something that I need, right? That can be reused so many different times, and you can have him get other shots of you too. You're going to need shots of like just walking like a normal ass person. Um, if you live in an area where you have, those type of stores that people like to see, okay, what do those stores look like, right? Chanel, Gucci. Um, I worked with somebody, right? And her audience was a younger generation. So this is what she had to do to make content for her younger generation. She had to hire a videographer. She rented a car. She got glammed up. Her and her girl got glammed up. Okay. And the videographer caught everything on camera that day. He caught everything from the car pulling up to the Gucci and the Chanel and all these fancy stores that are in Las Vegas. Okay. He caught them going into the store, shopping, buying, swiping their American Express cards. Okay. Guess what they did the very next day?
Returned
They
it.
took all that shit back. Okay. All right. It's content, guys. We got to get creative. All right. So that's something that we can easily use a business credit card for. So if I have to go to like one of these stores and spend some money, like I'm gonna go test the card first, make sure it like works and shit, get that shit on, video. And even if it's declined, that shit doesn't have to be shown on video. They can do the slow-mo of someone putting their credit card in the machine. It always is gonna look better if it's American Express, Chase, Navy Federal,
Did
one
you
of these banks
um
that's cracking right now, because, you know, that's just how it goes. That's just lifestyle marketing, right?
mhm.
I'm not a lifestyle marketer. I'm just not, I just provide
You rich
value,
already?
but you know, you're gonna need something to get out there. When I first got out there, I did hire a videographer, and to be honest, I still use some of those clips. I hired someone to do the videography, and he also had a drone, right? So it was pretty cool. And I highly recommend, if you find a videographer, one of the recommendations that I would have is they need to have a drone, right? Because you can get drone footage that's super dope. And there's drones out there that some of these videographer has that will follow you, so you can get the content above you walking and show that. And then, you've got multiple frames of the content from, the um, drone. And then obviously the videographer also has a camera, right? And then you can also be using, a camera of your own if you wanted to. So there's just a lot of things that you can do, right? But you have to start creating the content, because we're never good at first, right? We're going to be our own worst critic. Everybody is, but you have to create the content. You have to look to par, right? You have to look like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about, you know?
Did you guys see when Bow Wow did that video where he was like behind a jet or something, and then it was, I can't remember the exact story, but basically like he was flexing and like it was pretty much like a green screen or something like that, and like social media called him out on it. So I will say, like, from that story, you do have to be somewhat careful if you're just gonna like try to finesse too much.
Yeah, I don't like the whole jet thing because some of the people that I've seen like piece up on a private jet, which a lot of people call PJs, they piece up on these PJs with these videographers, and it comes out to be like a few $100 per person, but that's not authentic. That's like the only time that you ever been on a PJ, and that's probably like the only time that you're ever going to be on a PJ. Like, let's just be honest, right? If that's not like who you really are and like what your lifestyle really looks like, I do not ever recommend like that whole private jet shit, because it's a turnoff to a lot of people. People would much rather do business with someone who's authentic. You could do a car. You can do, I told you, man, I don't know if I guys told you guys or not, but this gentleman that I invested $5,000 to, this fucker was using a Ferrari, a yellow Ferrari. He rented a yellow Ferrari. So guess what? Everyone thought that that was his yellow Ferrari. So he was having people spit. He was a high ticket coach, right? So come to find out, like, wasn't his, it was rented, right? But he never said it was his either. It was just content that he's getting out of, that he's, recording content with, that he's taking pictures with. So a lot of these cars that people have sometimes are rented, right? But if they are truly theirs, they've already had some good success to get those things. And it doesn't say that you necessarily have to show a car, but that's just one example of it. And when I did used to post my car, I feel like I always got a lot of views on it for whatever reason, because, nice cars just get views, right? So if you have a little money to invest, might be something you can think about. But just to get you started, you just need to press record. You don't really need anything fancy. You just need to get over the fear of thinking that you're not good enough because you don't have, this certain lifestyle that you want to share with people. Not everyone feels like they have to, flaunt. This lady created, a little recording area, and she just set up her camera and press record. And I'll tell you what, there was a company that just reached out to me that offered me that background of the lighting. What is it called? Like a neon light. They're going to send it to me for free. They already said they sent it out. So when you're like on YouTube, people will send you free stuff, and you'll get like brand deals and stuff like that. So making content is ultimately going to make you more money in the end. But you can set up just, a plain background with some, aesthetic lights or something, and be fine. Just like I did in the Credit Repair Cloud interview. My background was just like a blue light, because it's simple, but it works. So you don't need anything fancy. You just need, something to press record with, which we can all do with our cell phone. But if you are going to be, speaking on the video, you need to make sure that you have audio that is good, right? Um, there's so many ways that you can get audio. A lot of people have those like little tiny mics that they use with their cell phones. Those will be fine. This mic that I have is my favorite mic, and I've had so many microphones. I've had the Rode shotgun mic. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It was a great mic, don't get me wrong. That's actually my second favorite mic. I've also had the wireless Rode mics, and this one's really popular with creators, and it has like a little microphone that you can plug up, plug into like one of the receivers like this, right? And you can clip it onto your shirt. So that way, if, say, for example, you have one receiver on you, you have one receiver connected to your cell phone, you're still good at getting good audio quality, right? So you're going to need some sort of good microphone. But this microphone, the Shure mic, it is a little bit more pricey. I think it's like $400 for this microphone. But if you have more money to invest, I would just go on and get this microphone because you can actually plug this microphone into whatever you want. You can plug it into your phone with an adapter. You can plug it into your computer. You just have to get this little adapter that will put it into like a USB or, whatever form that you need. But this is really good audio quality, right? Because I struggled with audio quality, and that's something that I wish I would have invested in sooner, because I look back at some of my videos and I'm like, oh my God, they sound horrible, right? But this Shure mic or any type of Rode mic, RODE or Shure mic, I've had a lot of other little plug-in mics. But honestly, like, you're better off just buying this one because it'll plug into anything, especially if you're going to be doing it in like a setting like Rose here. You could have, a mic coming over if you really wanted to and do kind of like a podcast style. There's so many different ways that you can like put your mic up there, but in some cases, you might not even need a mic if you could have it hanging over where you're talking, as long as it can pick up a clear, voice, you'd be fine. But you have to get creative with what you have, and you have to press record. And the longer that you do it, the better that you're going to get. And people are like, I don't know why people feel like they have to wait for perfection for them to record. Like I was like that too. And then finally I said, fuck it. I'm just going to put up this backdrop and I'm going to press record and I'm just going to do it. And I would like force myself to record content for like a certain period of time, a couple times a month and then once a month. And now it's like once every other month because I have so much content that I can already use. But you have to really be dedicated to this content stuff because it's so important. And that's how people are going to get to know you, like you, and trust you. And this lady here, she's still creating content, and she's had a little bit of backlash or whatever. I think she's gotten in trouble by somebody before, but she's still at it. And this is just another person that you can just look at and say, okay, well, what is this person doing? And how can I be more competitive like them? You know, what are they giving away for free? And if you look at their playlist or their community or whatever, I don't even think I'm subscribed to this lady's channel, but I did see her video once and I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool intro, right? But you just have to get creative with your content, even if you don't have the budget to hire a videographer, you know, invest in a tripod and a good old light ring and just press record and do it up against a background. The great thing about, CapCut and a lot of these editing softwares is they can change the background, and, you'd just be surprised on what can come of, you just creating a little tiny bit of content and then using AI to create the rest of your video, or you not even having to speak really in your videos. Really, you can have AI speak your videos for you. In fact, all my videos that have gone viral lately, I'm not speaking in whatsoever. I've used CapCut and I've typed out the words that I want it to speak, or I've said it like I did a voiceover and I just said what I wanted, like one of the AI character voices to say, right? And sometimes I'll use like different voice characters. Like I've used that creepy guy, and there's a bunch of different voices that you could potentially use, but I'll use like the trending ones, right? and they'll say the whole video for me, and there might just be like one clip of you or that person, pointing up to the ceiling, right? You can reuse that clip of you pointing up to the ceiling for probably 10 to 20 different videos. Okay. But you got to record it and it's got to look good. And then you could just do something like this to the video to, go to the next scene, which you can record your computer and talk about the top 5 banks that are top 5 credit unions, So you have to study the competition and you most importantly take action, because if you're not going to start creating the content, like I see some of these people, their content is freaking not anything exceptional, but it goes viral. Why? Because it's providing value, right? They're providing value on this little crappy video that just went viral. And some people aren't even like speaking on it. They're either doing a voiceover, which I've done a lot as well. Those are easy. Or they're having like AI voices speak most of the stuff for them. Or it's just audio, it's just like a song or something. But you have to press record, guys. You got to. And then you can repurpose that video on all of these different platforms, right? Is everyone on here on CapCut and know how to use it? No? Well, if you haven't downloaded the app CapCut, you got to download it because it is a great app. They have a free version that you can just use and start getting comfortable with it. And you can edit your videos in there. And you can do so many different cool things in CapCut. And if you do decide to get the paid version, I think it's like $12.99 a month for the paid version. And it's just a really cool platform because of the amount that you can actually do with it. Like sometimes, like some of the videos that I've created in CapCut that have gone viral, it's because I'm sitting like in the middle of the night thinking about something. It was like, oh my God, I need to just create a video about that. And I just do it in CapCut. And that one video like did 100,000. That was like my Credit Karma video. And all it was just me screen recording on my phone and importing it into CapCut and then doing the voiceover with like the little creepy guy. So super easy. You can manipulate a lot of this AI so it does the work for you and your videos will still go viral because they're still original content. That's the most important thing. You got to create original content. That's what social media is going to look for. And then eventually you'll get monetized with these places. Instagram Reels program is back. Facebook bonus program is back. You can get monetized on TikTok. Shit, you can get monetized on TikTok now pretty easily, and you can sign up to be like a reseller for a lot of their stuff and create videos and make money off that. A ton of people are making good money from TikTok right now. And then, of course, you can get monetized on YouTube. Not as easy on YouTube because you have to have, I think, at least 1,000 subscribers and oh gosh, so many hours of watch time. I forgot what it was. John, do you know how many watch hours you have to be monetized?
I think it's 4,000.
Okay, I think that
I feel
sounds
like it
about
might
right.
be 6 now. I can't remember. I feel like they
Yeah.
recently changed it or something.
Yeah, it's a few thousand watch hours that you have to get. So it's important for you to kind of get consistent with it, but you can schedule stuff out and you can even create Loom videos that you can put onto YouTube that'll still do well. I saw this one guy and he was doing a video on just like the top credit unions and he was just using Loom, the app Loom, LOOM.com, and he was just screen recording on Loom and the video did pretty damn well. So you can create those type of videos where you're just like, hey, I'm going to give you the top 5 banks or top 5 credit unions that you need to go to right now and just use the data that's on ibanknet.net, and share that information. People are going to find that valuable because most people that have never seen a Navy Federal. They've never seen a Penn Fed credit union. They've never seen some of these credit unions. They're not going to even be educated on credit unions and how much they can potentially benefit them and get high limit credit cards and credit builder products with credit unions, then graduate to these other banks, and not have to go through all those crappy credit builder accounts, but rather use relationships with credit unions. A lot of people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to build credit that way. And there's so many credit unions out there that provide so many different credit builders, secured credit cards, secured loans, things like that, that a lot of people are not educated on. I mean, you could create an 8-minute video on the top credit unions that offer credit builder products for people looking to rebuild their credit. And that would probably do really well. Okay. You can create content on Navy Federal. It always does really well for people. You can create content on whatever trending credit union or bank is going on right now. Chase is another one that you can create content on, and it's really trending. But use Google Trends too, googletrends.com, to find out, what's trending that is in credit that I could talk about, and then you can use SEO to kind of, target. You can even create blogs on your website with SEO that point to that video. There's a lot of, creative, unique things that you can do, but use this credit bundle to your advantage. Okay. Whether you're going to sell it, whether you're going to give it to free for people. Okay. That's totally up to you, but there's so much value in these things. Okay. And it's 200 pages, and that's what you want people to remember you with, is value, right? And a lot of these places, like I said, you can set up affiliates. T-shirt club, you could set up affiliates. Crown Office, you can set up an affiliate. I would check out, most of these companies and see if there's any sort of affiliate program that they offer, so that way you can put your affiliate link inside of this credit bundle, okay? And still be able to profit on it if you're not going to be charging people for it, right? And the way that you would edit the links basically is inside of Adobe, right? Say you are like, okay, I got an affiliate link with Royal Farms, and I want to set up my affiliate link with Royal Farms. Number one thing I always tell people when it comes to affiliate links is create a Google spreadsheet. And you're going to create a Google spreadsheet with all of your affiliate links, the name, and then the affiliate link, right? And then put, additional notes if there's, a special portal that you have to use to log in, like Partner Stack or whomever, because I swear to you, I have like so many Partner Stack accounts now, I can't even keep up with them. And I don't even know some of the logins for some of my old ones. So it's just a nightmare to deal with. So keep track of all of your affiliate links, because a lot of these places are going to use third-party apps like Partner Stack and, some of these other well-known affiliate marketing companies, because it's just easier for them to track everything, right? And then Partner Stack will just pay you, once a month or once every time your account reaches a certain level. But you want to make sure that your links are in here inside of this page. So if you get Adobe Acrobat, all that you have to do is just come over here, and then we're going to go all the way down, and we're going to modify, let's see. I even forget sometimes how to do this. Actually, you know what? I think it's just adding a link. Oops, hold on. But there's a way that you can add all of your links in here pretty easily using Adobe here. So I just got to remember how to do it. Image. I feel like they've changed this stuff around, but let me see. Man, maybe it's not in edit. Maybe I think it's just doing a highlight actually. I don't know. I feel like they're always adding and trying to make things hard. Let me see if there's generated image. Basically, you want to add your URL over here. So it doesn't look like there's anything over here. And you can do it with Adobe Acrobat. I don't know why it's being difficult for me, but let's see, attach file, insert text. We want to insert a link. And they used to be super easy. Of course, it's not going to be easy for me tonight to find it, right? But anyways, you can certainly do it in here. I forgot how to do it, obviously, but there's a way that you can add your own link in here. So that way you're constantly making money, right? Because that's the goal, is to do the work once, and then you can be able to earn from this for years and years to come. So I'm going to put this book, go through it so you know what's in there, right? If you want to change anything, you certainly can. It's like it's yours to do what you will with it. Whether you charge, whether you give it to free, whatever the case may be. But, always be providing value so that way you can start owning your own data, right? And you can easily put this into some sort of funnel inside of either Go High Level, or if you want to use ConvertKit. ConvertKit's, super easy, super user friendly, or even StanStore. Use one of those type of platforms to put the digital products in. And even if you're going to sell it for a low ticket offer, you can do the whole Russell Brunson approach and say, hey, this is, a valued, credit bundle at $997. And it includes all of these different things. But today, for a special price of only, $27, you can have it. And then you can also do upsells. If you wanted to upsell, hey, for $17, you can add this other ebook, like the Credit for Kids ebook, or one of the other ebooks that's inside of the community. And now you've got an average order value of $47 because of low ticket items and add-ons. So it's really good for you guys to kind of get familiarized with making digital products, selling digital products, getting those funnels in place, and also, just creating content around it. I can't tell you how valuable it is to own your own content. And, it all starts on social media. Of course, you can create other avenues for your business, but social media is never ever going to get old. So, does anyone have any questions on this ebook? I know probably a lot of people haven't even gone through it yet because there's just so many different pages and different, pieces of it, but it's just got so much information. It's got the secret lenders list in it, so much data in there. And like I said, I'm going to post it inside of school. I'm going to put it in there for you guys to use. All right. Well, if we don't have any questions, we'll wrap it up for tonight. I'll put all this stuff inside the school community. Leverage this information, guys. Okay. Because action takers are money makers, right? There's no reason why you guys can't be making money if this person over here who's just, got, maybe a bigger budget for lifestyle marketing, right? They have a little bit more money to invest. That's all that is, okay? But they still are pressing record. Stop being the consumer, okay? We have to be the creator. We have to change our mindset and now become the creator, okay? And sometimes it takes a different mindset because in this day and age, it's so easy to create content. We can record ourselves walking down the street, and that's considered content, okay? Especially from different angles, okay? But definitely look at other people and how they're creating content. And all that they're really doing is recording themselves. They can put text over the screen. A lot of times it doesn't need to necessarily be you talking, but just start getting comfortable in front of that camera, whether you're doing remixes, you can do voiceovers, meaning record the content, then put your voiceover, afterwards. You can create AI voices. There's a lot of opportunity, but you do have to, press record. That's the most important thing. So I'll let everyone go. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about credit repair, the whole arbitration process. I'm going to see if I can get one of my consumer law buddies to come on and talk about more in depth of consumer law, because I want everyone to be comfortable with using the law to their advantage. And I know sometimes it can be overwhelming because it's so much information. But, like with anything, we have to stick with it. We have to just continue to be aggressive. This whole credit repair thing, if it was really that easy, then of course everyone would have such easy success, right? And a lot of times when you see all of those results on social media, they're not real and they're not for every client. Okay. So don't feel down because you're not getting results immediately. You have to stay consistent, whether that's for you or for other people. You have to stay consistent. Okay. You have to keep chipping away at that ice block until you get the results that you desire. You have to wake up at 6 a.m. every morning and treat this like a job. Nobody wants to do this shit, but nobody's going to do it for you like you can. Okay. You can't pay someone to get you the same results like you can. Okay. Even if you knock off one account a day, that's a win. Okay. So start getting on the phones, get aggressive with these things that you don't want on your credit report anymore. And, if they are a charge off and they are truly holding you back, sometimes we just have to settle some old debt. It all depends on how much time you have, how much money you have to invest, and kind of where you're at with everything. But, the most important thing is continuing to take action every single day and literally treat this like a job until you get the results that you desire. And also, building relationships with the banks. We have to start doing that because we don't want to have to get, a lot of these crappy credit cards that, you know, we've heard of, like Open Sky and First Progress. We want to be able to just, if we have to get secured credit cards, we want to get them with the credit unions. We want to get them with the banks. People's name that, is going to be reputable on our credit report so we can build a strong credit profile, guys. Okay. So we'll be talking more about the arbitration process, credit law, all that good stuff next week. And until then, I'll get everything uploaded for you guys for the credit bundle. Use it, take advantage of it, read through it. It's a lot of good information. And of course, you might get someone that might ask you, hey, what's in it? And you can put together some content around that to either sell it for a low ticket price or to give value and say, hey, comment the word bundle right now and I'll send you my free bundle. Get creative with the content, because right now that whole comment a keyword, that's hot right now. It's really working well for me on YouTube, because I'll be like, hey, comment the word credit and I'll send you my free guide. And I'm getting people opting in every day. So I'm owning my own data. Okay. That's really important. We got to own our own data, right? And I'm not paying for ads. I'm doing it all organic through content. All right. So take action, everyone. Press that record button. You're good as anybody else out there. Okay. You have to be able to share your gift. And it's selfish of us not to share our gift with other people. We know we can help people. We can change lives. So why are we not telling more people about it? It can't be because we don't like the way that we look on camera. We have to get over that. I don't think anyone's ever going to be 100% satisfied on how they look on camera, right? But we can't be selfish. We have to allow people to get to know us, like us, and trust us through content. So I'll see everyone next week. Take action, everyone, and have a great weekend.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.